Like I always tell you, you can either be learning something new or unlearning. Just because you've been doing something for 30 years or for 40 years, depending on your age, doesn't make it correct, doesn't make it right. It's just that's what you do. That's what you've been doing. And if you're not working on you, if you're not being self-aware, if you're not being productive and using your 24 hours trying to better you as a person in areas that you could be lacking, then you're not really going to understand what I'm talking about. And most people really don't understand what I'm talking about because they're external. They want to focus on their house, their career, their physical body, but they're not really doing the internal work that's going to make them elevate and grow and take it to the next level. Because everything social media world is internal. Your inner world shapes your outer world. But that takes a lot of work. People don't want to sit down with themselves and put that work in to take themselves to the next level. So it's easy to go to the gym, work out, buy some clothes, get a nice car, and make me look good on the external. It's like a car. You see this hot car, whatever your favorite car is, it looks good on the outside. No dents, no scratches, nice paint, even the interior is nice. But when you open the hood, it got transmission problems. It got all these alignment. It got all type of issues that cars that only mechanics would know because they know the internal work of a car. As a customer, you might not know the internal work of a car. We're only looking at the external because we know when we get in, we look good in it, the car looks good, and that's what we really care about. So I say all that to say this. You really, really need to start working on yourself because it's not fair to the person who has some type of self-awareness, who has common sense on an overall aspect, because there's common sense and levels in different areas, social media world. I'm an electrician. So if I'm an electrician and you're a painter, I'm gonna have more common sense when it comes to electrical. Compared to you, I can't really say this is common sense because you know nothing about electrical. But if it's two electricians and we've been both doing this the same amount of time, we both have the same amount of years doing it, and then I say, well, that's common sense, then we could kind of relate because you should know it's common sense because we have the same amount of experience, we've been doing it for the same amount of time, and we're both in the same field, studying the same field. But when you're not studying the same field, we have to stop using, oh, well, that's common sense. No, I can't go to a baker and my first day trying to bake a cake and the person who's teaching me gets mad at me because I don't know what a quarter cup of sugar is and what 2 teaspoons are because I never baked. Now that's common sense to them because you're a baker. You've been doing this for so long now. So it's on your head. It just comes to you. It's common sense. You don't even got to think about it. Somebody who never baked or who just started baking, even 2 weeks, they still have to adapt. They still have to learn new habits. So it's not going to be common sense. So let's really stop and cut it out talking about, oh, this is common sense. No, it's general common sense as far as life situations, right from wrong. Like, let's say, let me give you an example of general common sense. If you're crossing the street, the light is red. You wait for it to turn green. That's general common sense. We don't have to have experience. We don't have to be in a field. That's general common sense. So stuff like that, everybody kind of know unless you're just kind of slow or you're a child, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, you would kind of know. So I'm saying all that to say this, social media world. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be my father. You could be my mother. You could be my boss. You could be Jesus Christ himself. If you're doing things and you're not self-aware, and because you're not self-aware and you're letting whatever troubles, whatever's hindering your mind get the best of you and you're taking that frustration out on me, it's not fair. And I'm going to match your energy because I'm not a Dalai Lama. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm a human being. Yes, I do work on myself and I try to give respect to the utmost until I'm disrespected. But you don't get a pass just because you're my dad. You don't get a pass because you're my mother. You don't get a pass because you're Jesus Christ. I might have more patience. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe in disrespecting anybody, especially your parents. You can't pick and choose who your parents are. I could pick and choose my wife. I could pick and choose my job. I could pick and choose my friends. And if we ain't there and it's not meshing, it's not a good fit, and you're pissing me off because you're not self-aware, I can remove myself and not participate with your actions. But when you're my mom, when you're my dad, when you're my spouse, anybody that's close to you that you have to deal with on a constant basis, it's really, really not fair that this person is not self-aware and they get to do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say, and you have to eat that because you know better. No, social media world. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. I'm giving you the same respect that I want back, especially if I'm not talking to you a certain way. If me and you are having a conversation and you're not liking what I'm saying, but I'm not saying it disrespectful, I'm not saying it in a high pitch, I'm not saying it in a high tone, that doesn't give you, because you have no control of you, because you're not self-aware about you, because you have things that you should have been worked out that probably since you was a teenager up into young adulthood, up until, like I said, depending on how old you were. We all have a story. We all have flaws and issues that hinder us, especially when it comes to communication. And we have a very lack of understanding because most people are like horse with blinders on. Like I told you before, you're VIP. In your world, you're the most important person in your world. I think the same way. The person down the block thinks the same way. So now if we all think like that, we should just move with respect. Treat people how you want to be treated. Not just because you're my mother, not just because you're my father, think you could just come at me a certain way, and then when I react, you want to look at me like I'm being disrespectful. I'm not being disrespectful. And like I said, I'm not even reacting and going to the temple you are because I have love for you because you're my parent. Now, if you were some regular nondescript person, I'm either going to choose to not participate with you for the betterment of like you're not worth it, or I might do something that'll either get me hurt or end up hurting you or might go to jail. We have to use our emotional intelligence. I've done several videos about emotional intelligence, but most people, when in the heat of the moment, that goes out the window. But I promise you, the more you work on you, the more you pay attention to yourself. Change starts with you. If I'm doing something that's bothering you, if you don't tell me and you don't communicate it with me, that's not my problem. That's not my fault. You can't hold that to me and now you want to side trip and act funny when you could have just said, hey, J Red, sincere, when you do A, it makes me feel like B, and now we end up at C. Now, if I'm not doing something intentionally, social media world, to make you feel that way, it shouldn't be a problem. I should hear what you have to say, respect what you have to say, and be like, I'll be more mindful. And then I'll explain why it might have looked like this. That was not my intentions, but after I take accountability, because it's not a right or wrong situation. You're expressing your feeling, I'm listening to you. If I didn't do it with the intention to hurt you, I should be able to fix this with no problem, saying, I apologize that you took it that way, but when I did this because of that. I didn't know it affected you, but now I know this affects you. I'm gonna be more mindful and more aware and stop it. Simple. Everybody's happy. You're happy, I'm happy. But what happens most of the time is when you express your feeling to somebody who's not self-aware or unaware, guess what? Their pride and ego goes up. Their pride and ego gets in the way because they're taking it like you saying that you did it on purpose, especially when they know in their heart, what is he talking about? What is she talking about? How could they think that? Forget the hows. You're going to hear the how once you give them the floor to express himself. Now, if that person who's expressing himself is insecure, immature, and now working on themselves, that's a whole nother story. because immature, insecure people are going to have immature, insecure feelings. Now, just because you crazy, and I don't mean crazy like you belong in a mental asylum, but meaning you're not aware, I'm not going to jump to every beat you make because you're flimsy. You know what I'm saying? That's just not going to happen. So, people, work on you. It doesn't matter if you're my mother, if it don't matter if you're my father. If you're doing stupid shit, you're doing stupid shit. Doesn't make you stupid, you're just doing stupid shit. But when you tell people that, and of course not in that way, because their pride and ego is definitely going to turn up. You tell somebody they're doing stupid shit, especially depending on how you say it. Most people pride and ego is they're going to take it an offense. But I'm not coming at you in an offensive way. Social media, where I do stupid shit all the time. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm not. But I take accountability when I do stupid shit. I eat it. I own it. I might tell you and give you a reason why I did it. Because it got to make sense. If you're doing something you don't know why you're doing it, then you need to really get evaluated. Because everything you do in life, you should have a reason for doing. You just can't do something and just say, oh, well, this is how I am. No, this is what you choose to be. And you like that. Now, if it's offending people, especially a lot of people don't like to speak their mind. I'm going to speak my mind. If you're offending me, I'm going to let you know and I'm going to tell you about it. We're going to talk about it. If I have any type of love for you. If I don't, I'm just going to remove myself from you. I don't have to participate with you, social media world. We can choose, even if it's our mother and father, we could choose what we want to deal with and what we don't want to deal with. That's just the bottom line. Yes, we can love you to death, but it's not my fault that you're not aware. Just because you have that title means you get to do whatever you want to do and just step on me and use me as a stomping ground because you're not in control of you and your emotions. No, that doesn't mean that. But I know I was kind of all over the place. I really want to tell you the story about what happened yesterday, but that's basically where I was going with it. We really need to work on ourselves and really just tap in. Tap into you. I'm not saying don't pay attention to your outside surroundings and the people around you. I'm not saying that at all. But you have to have a balance. You have to do that with you more than anybody else, more than any career, more than any person. Pay attention to you. You are you. You are going to be in your skin. You are a spiritual being having a human existence. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to try to have some type of self-mastery? You know how powerful that is? That's where your power is at. Imagine that you're not able to take anything personal no more. Imagine that. Imagine that no matter what happens, no matter how bad somebody makes you feel, you're able to respond and not react. And when I say that, because most people just react because we're triggered. You hit a soft spot, you hit a button. But when we're able to just respond, we're always going to be that quietness in the storm. And that's where the power is at. But the only my mouth is a little dry. Where's my water? I know I had a water somewhere here. Here it is. That's where your power is at. Pardon me, social media world. That's where your power is at. So, master yourself. Regardless of how old you are, you're going to be with you until the day you die. You came in this world by yourself, you're leaving by yourself. Master you. Stop giving people, places, and things that power over you, especially when they're not self-aware. I don't care if it's your mother. I don't care if it's your father. I don't care if it's your kids. I don't care if it's Jesus Christ himself. If that person's not aware and they're doing stupid shit, you don't have to tolerate that. You could pick and choose who you want to participate with, even if it means loving them from a distance. But I hope this message was clear because I know I was all over the place. But thank you. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. If this video doesn't apply to you, forward it, send it to somebody else, share. Sometimes we all need to hear certain things in the right moments. But till the next time, Sincere, J Red, Flatbush, Brooklyn. Y'all already know.